I wanted to take today to focus in on an issue that I think is concerning to everyone, and that's climate change. And we really wanted to kind of narrow in a little bit more on how we can take a collective approach to making sure that we get to where we need to be on carbon emissions. And so for each of you, I just kind of wanted to start off and recognize that each of your firms have made a commitment to achieving net zero financed emissions by 2050, which is a key milestone for the Paris Climate Agreement. And just last week, the IEA announced that all new fossil fuel projects must be stopped immediately in order to meet the Paris goal of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade. So I just wanted to pose a couple of questions to kind of discern a little bit about the details of each of your firm's commitments. So for each of you, if we could just kind of go down on a yes or no, are each of your firms still financing new oil and gas production? And if we can start with Mr. Frazier.
Yes, we are still financing some new ones.
Okay. And for Mr. Moynihan?
We finance oil companies and will continue to do so to help them make the transition that we've all talked about. And at the end of the day, we'll get there with the private sector driven in innovation and investing in some new technologies. And some of these companies have the intellectual property that is superior for carbon capture, storage, things that we're going to need to make this happen. And so we'll continue to help work with them.
Has anyone who has not answered not financing new oil and gas production? Okay, I'll take that as a no. Let's move on. Are any of the banks represented here today cutting their bank's financed emissions by half by 2030? Okay, none. Have any of you set specific targets for a significant reduction in financed emission in absolute terms, in terms of carbon emissions?
We are working with clients to have targets for absolute returns in emissions, and we're doing it by industry. So we haven't done all the industries yet. We've done oil, utility, auto, but there are other industries, of course, pulp, paper, a whole bunch of other ones, and it's going to take a lot of hard work to do it. The clients actually want to do it.
Yeah, we're doing the same. I think everybody here has a similar thing. We've made commitments. Now you're literally going industry by industry to figure out those participants in that industry, what you can do to help them make the transition and what's their rational time frame. And then behind that, with the small, medium-sized clients, we're out educating them about what net zero means, how they're going to have to commit to it, because they're customers, they're people who are their vendors too, and others are making similar commitments. So the whole infrastructure has to come in line, and that takes educate. All these banks have tremendous capacity to educate the clients and help the small, medium-sized business make the same transition that these large companies have to make. And we're literally going industry by industry to figure it out. That's where the hard work's going on.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Moynihan. And Mr. Diamond, you said that effort has been put in defining absolute emission targets. Have those been released yet, or are those currently underway? And if so, is there an estimated time in which we can see those absolute commitments?
They are not public yet, and we're also working with the clients on it. And I don't remember the exact time frame, but that's not a 2050 number. That's a much earlier than that. I just don't remember those 10 years or 15 years, et cetera.
Okay, wonderful. And I believe that those are all my questions today. So thank you so much, Madam Chair. I yield back.